We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it will be Friday. We're recording it Thursday night. And we have Jace with us out of San Antonio, Texas. And Jace and I were just trying to decide what to talk about. Such a slow day. It's hard to pick out what we're talking about. But you sitting down in Texas and you see us here in Minneapolis in the thick of it, in the midst of it. Um, it's been a little crazy here in Minnesota and throughout the country. Everybody was worried. And of course, we're talking about the shooting. This is what we know. Uh, an ICE officer at 34th Street and Portland Avenue in South Minneapolis, kind of my old neighborhood, um, an ICE officer by the name of Jonathan Ross. And remind me to tell you how they figured out the name. You knew they would figure out the name, but murders a 37-year-old woman um, in her car for no fucking apparent reason. Um, it's 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 uh, it's a tragedy, and we've got people trying to cover their asses all over this. But people, all night after this happened, I was on TikTok, and everybody said, "Oh, I got this picture of the guy, a full face picture of the guy, and here's his name." And people say, "Here it is, Mike. Why don't you report it?" And I go, "Yeah, not yet. I don't have any verification of this shit." Turns out those full face pictures of him were basically AI renderings based on the ones with his mask on. It's a guess. And in terms of the names, I saw no reason why they picked those names out. But today, on Thursday, they came up with the guy's name, his actual name. I saw it in the Star Tribune. I know it's true. And guess how they found out his name?
No.
Christy Nome fucked up.
Oh,
Christy Nome didn't give the name, but when she was trying to protect this guy, they were talking about he has PSTD or PTSD. He has PTSD because at one point he was dragged by a car uh, in an ice raid. He was connected in a car and he got dragged by the car. So now he has PTSD. So apparently, if you have PTSD, you can shoot anybody with full immunity. I don't know what that means. So you know what they did? They went and looked at all the files of accidents and incidents on ice. They found the only incident in the last year where an ICE agent, was dragged. They pulled up the pictures, they looked at him, they got the name, and now we know his name is Jonathan Ross. Um, like I always say, they always fuck up, and Christy Nome fucked up big because whether or not this guy gets prosecuted, his life and his family's life could very well be over in terms of just being harassed for years to come.
well, I'm surprised she got that part right about the PTSD because Trump said he was in the hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
JD Vance comes on the day saying, I guess he got hit or something. I mean, what should have happened with the feds, it should have been, well, we're investigating this right now, but they went on the offensive right away. I mean, if this would have been an adult running, this administration in this country, we don't know all the facts yet, but they automatically went on there and they started, Fox started attacking her because she was a lesbian. That doesn't fucking matter.
No.
They started talking about her pronouns. I mean, it's like it's like they're weaponizing it because they know they fucked up and they're like in this such a mode to where they have to, they figure they have to like say something because they know they're going to fuck up. I mean, that they're very on the offensive a lot. And I was watching and everybody was sending it to you and you're sitting there watching it. It's kind of like the Charlie Kirk thing. You got it whether you liked it or not, and you get it and you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But I didn't understand is because I think there's also, you know, it's like anything, why did they shoot where they shot? If the car's leaving, shoot the tires, and I think there was some kind of law that somebody on one of the shows said that they're not supposed to discharge their gun to a fleeing vehicle.
Unless
So
they're in danger.
yeah,
And and you got Donald Trump and you got Christy Nome and JD Vance coming out. Well, he was in danger. She was ready to ram him. He got hit by the car. All you have to do is watch the video. He was
Yep.
never hit by the car. He was shooting inside the window, his hand inside the window as he's standing at the side of the car in no danger at all. Prior to that, the other guy was in grabbing the door handle, putting his hand inside the car, trying to open it up. Well, that's a good way to get fucking dragged. Don't do that. Why would you do that to some white woman in South Minneapolis who's not a target, who's just trying to get away or get out of there like you told her to do? This was just an immense fuck up. This is people who weren't trained properly. And this guy that did the shooting, he was in the front of the car for a little bit, but you notice the wheels were turned right. She would have pulled right out had it not been for the guy standing there. Okay. So she backed up to get a better angle, and then she was trying to go around him. She was clearly trying to miss him. And for these people to come out and say, no, she rammed him. I even heard a story, as well as the AI pictures of this guy, that there were some videos that showed her going hard at, it was from the different angle, from the front angle. It looked like the car was speeding toward the guy. Okay. What they did was they had a bunch of people taking videos, and one was in front of the car. So what happened is after this woman was shot, obviously it sped up and it was out of control and it was going right toward that telephone pole in the car. Well, they took a cut from that, put it in prior to the cop situation to make it look like she was trying to ram them. But you'd have to be an idiot not to watch the video and see exactly what fucking happened. There's no discussion about it. There's no fucking gray area. She did not try to ram him. She's a 37-year-old woman, terrified because there's men with masks and fucking guns, and she just wants to get the fuck out of there. They fucked up and they won't own up to it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if she did do that, let the locals do an investigation. But they're not letting them do that either. They have completely shut off everything, saying they'll do the investigation. Sounds like what do we always say? The cover-up's worse, worse than almost anything. Because yeah, and because I heard that too. Oh, she sped up. Well, yeah, she probably was shot, and she probably, her foot hit the gas, and yeah, I mean, she wasn't conscious. She wasn't doing that.
She
But they
wasn't
have,
even alive. She got hit. She got
yeah,
shot multiple times in the face. No
yeah.
way she survived more than a second.
But why shoot towards the face? I mean, if anything, shoot the tire below. Pop the tire if they're running away. You know what I mean? That's what they do in high speed chases. They put those nails out there to stop the
Right.
tires, stop a vehicle. I mean, it's just, and honestly, if he did, I mean, well, he obviously did, but I mean, it's like that whole, shoot now and ask questions later. It's kind of like what we
Right.
saw. There was one thing in, it happened down here in tech in Dallas, to where this cop was in the wrong apartment. Well, the person in the apartment, they thought it was there. They broke into the apartment and shot the girl that was in the
Yeah.
apartment. And it's like, and I keep hearing from like JD Vance and like these other ones saying, well, it's a split second decision. They're supposed to be trained for this. If you're armed with that, you're supposed to be trained to not let this happen. You know what I mean? And what I've heard about ICE is they can't hire anybody and they're getting people that can't read or write. I
Right.
mean,
Exactly.
it's not the best among us. And what I saw from the vice president today was him trying to be Trump. I
Yeah.
mean, the way he was talking today, that's not JD Vance. But I think JD Vance, what he's trying to do is he saw that he got some, kickback from what they did to the guy from Ukraine. And when they were attacking him like that, and he was jumping on him with Zelensky, he was jumping on him with the Trump, like, oh, well, you need to wear a suit or you're not grateful. So he's going into that now to where he's trying to be Trump-like because he thinks it'll get MAGA his vote. I mean, I was sitting there watching JD Vance and I'm going, you're not stupid. You're not an idiot. You saw what we saw and you sit there and you just lie to it. It just proves that, you'll do anything to degrade the MAGA power. And that's exactly what I saw the vice president do today.
Well, and like you say, it was a red flag that when this happened, Christy Gnomes, she might have been in Texas at the time or some fucking place. The first thing she said was she tried to ram our people. They were doing it in self defense because that's the only explanation for doing something like this. Now, that's not the answer you give if you weren't on site and haven't seen the video and haven't done anything. What you say is, well, we're investigating this and we'll figure out exactly what happened and we'll let you know. But they jumped right on board, protecting this guy, protecting the call, and that is enough to tell you that they're fucking lying. They
They
didn't know.
what they're doing is that, JD Vance and other things said that, they're getting gaslit, and he goes on to gaslight the situation. And what they're doing is, they're accusing like Walls and the I guess was the mayor that told him to get the F out of there. I mean, it's aggravating situation. They sit there and they say, well, this side's doing this, and they're the ones that quote, like you sound like a little kid, they're the ones that started it. I mean, that sounds like juvenile to say that, but it's like they come out guns a blazing. No offense, but I mean, it's like they come out with, I don't know. I'm just at a loss because it's like we're told not to believe our eyes. I
Right.
mean, that's what Orwell said in 1984. I mean, it's like Trump's done this before to say, don't believe your eyes. And a lot of people do that. And there's a lot of people that fly these don't tread on me flags down here that just, that are, perfectly fine now with the government doing this. And there was a time right wing, those militias, they wouldn't trust Democrat or Republican in office.
Right.
What we're seeing now is that, they're totally just, they're sort of suspending belief, and they're doing exactly what Trump said. Don't believe your eyes. And that's what they're doing. There's no other
And they're
explanation.
and they're doing it badly, and anybody with average or above intelligence is going to see what it is. Even if they're Republicans, there's people that are appalled by that. So that said, in the House of Representatives, they took a vote to do an investigation, subpoena Christine Nome, bring in the videos, and look at it. And every Republican in the House of Representatives said, "Yeah, no, we don't need to do that." Which is pretty telling when the House of Representatives and Congress in general has oversight over Homeland Security and ICE. That's the very thing they should be doing in these circumstances. Yet the Republicans are doing what Donald Trump does, trying to cover it up. I mean, this administration, this party has got to be the party of cover-ups. They're covering up Epstein. They're covering up what happened in Minneapolis. They're covering up anything that has gone poorly. And unfortunately, with the Trump administration, everything's going poorly. And it's all a fucking cover up.
What you're going to see now, what you're seeing now is you're seeing the same people that said that January 6th was Antifa are now saying, all that proof of what was happening on January 6th, they can suspend that belief and say it was an inside job. But
Yeah.
this somehow is real. I mean, Ashley Babbitt, they made her a martyr, but she was breaking the law. I mean, they had a thing the other day where it was the anniversary of January 6th, and they didn't want to freaking show the plaques. I guess they were trying to hide some stuff that they have to be. It was like something that it's like a law that you have to display something. But it's like who was out there honoring those people that died? It was the Democrats.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of Republicans that were running for their lives during that January 6th, and they wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for those brave people. But they can't, get out there and do it. I mean, and you look back
Well,
on January 6th and you look at how Lindsey Graham was, he was done with Trump. And then all this stuff, and it's like we have this thing to where they honestly, the Republicans are counting on people not having long attention spans, and it seems to me their base fits that right away. Because I mean, I can remember when people were telling me January 6th was fake. So what am I supposed to go to them now? Well, this thing in Minneapolis is fake. I mean, that would be me saying that.
Yeah. Well, I did something very ill-advised. I don't normally do. I used to have a Facebook and Instagram account for Rational Boomer, but of course, you know, and I've said before, I got banned from Facebook. Didn't really care. I don't particularly like uh, Facebook. Now, I have a personal account on Facebook. I don't usually post on it. My concern is and not for my sake, but if I start posting things similar on Facebook, my personal Facebook, as to my Rational Boomer, people will connect it and they know more about me. I'm not really worried about it. I'm more worried about my family having to deal with whatever shit I might rot or whoever I might piss off. But still, from time to time, I go on there because I know where I grew up. There are people I grew up with, even one teacher I had in high school, are big time Trump humpers, and they are apologists for Donald Trump no matter what. And they're, of course, talking about how this woman was at fault. And frankly, I was a little pissed off yesterday.
Oh, that
So I don't go in and debate them. I go in and fuck with them. I go in and embarrass them. I shouldn't do it, but I can't help myself. And somebody brought up Ashley Babbitt in comparison to this woman. I said, well, here's the deal. You can try to compare it to this woman, but Ashley Babbitt was storming the U.S. Capitol. In the process, she was screaming, hang Mike Pence, kill Nancy Pelosi. She and her mouth breathing cohorts broke the window and she started to climb into the window in spite of the fact the police said, don't do that, don't do that. She goes in the window, she gets her ass shot. And you know what? She got shot not because the police weren't doing their job. They were doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. She got shot, you know what? Because she didn't fucking comply. Now here's the difference. This woman was told to get the fuck out of there, and she was trying to do that. She did comply, and for that she got shot. So don't try to make that comparison. There is no fucking comparison.
no, and anybody on the right that's defending this, you don't think this could happen to you, like with what you do?
Well, yeah.
This is, you know, I know a lot of people that are of Mexican descent to support this administration, and I tell them, I mean, he could give two fucks about you. And what they're doing is they're not. I mean, if they were literally trying to enforce the law, they would be working with local law enforcement to, you know, apprehend, you know, people that are here, you know, illegally. But they're
Yeah.
not doing it. They're going in there. I mean, you don't. I mean, you're in a car. You don't know who. I mean, there's so much cosplay out here. You know, Chrissy Gnome's one of them. She wears the freaking, you know, like she's going to a freaking line dance with the hat on and everything. She thinks that
Botox Barbie.
yeah, they think that makes her something. But I mean, if somebody comes up to me and tells me get the fuck out of there, I'm getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah, there's, discretion's the better part of valor.
About
Don't be
me,
fucking stupid
that's what
about it.
she was doing. I mean, she wasn't, they were saying she was writing. She just dropped her fucking kids off at school.
Yeah.
She has a family. Her ex-husband said some nice things about you. You know how hard it is for your ex to say anything about you that you know that's good? Because they're
He
divorced,
died.
huh?
He died though. He died. She was killed. She has a 6 year old son. She has some other kids that are older, I think, but she has a 6 year old son. Um, she may have more than one ex-husband, uh, but she was killed. 6 year old kid is without a mom, but his dad, the biological father of this kid, died in 2023. So now grandma and grandpa are going to have to fly across the country to get this poor 6 year old. You know what pisses me off? Republicans will constantly say, we got to save the children. We've got to take care of the children. And the way I look at it, you go and make this kid an orphan for no fucking good reason. You cover up for Epstein and all the crimes they committed against children. You put children in detention where they're physically at risk. You take health care away from them. You take food away from kids. Sounds like they want to do a lot to kids, but protecting them ain't fucking one of the things.
There's an old stand-up routine George Carlin said a long time, and it's a do today. Like they want to protect the unborn, but once you're out, fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, and they do that. I mean, it's come down to that. It's state and local ones. Like I've told you about here, how the Biden administration they had that summer feeding program. A lot of times when school's out, that's all the meal they get.
Yeah.
And I mean, it came and Abbott here turned it down. Well, I thought it was a Biden thing, but he fucking turned it down from the Trump administration too. Because
Yeah.
obviously Trump probably favors, I'll give the money to the Republican state. But, and it's something about that is that we had a we had a thing here. I mean, people here, I mean, you can pretty much open carry. I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, that they'll be more mad about you driving drunk than they will you, having a semi, in your trunk or whatever. But
Yeah.
they ain't pulling that stuff here. They're not doing this in the red states.
No.
They're not, yeah, I think Louisiana, they're, whatever, but I mean, he wouldn't, I mean, they have it here, but I guarantee you here they work with law enforcement because I've heard local law enforcement talk about that. And you talking about the children and everything like that. I was watching the news and they have I mean, I watch local news because they have the stuff on the weather. That's pretty much why anybody that watches, I'm not gonna watch anybody fucking giving a salute to Marco Rubio. I mean,
No.
I
No.
wouldn't
Fuck no.
I wouldn't like it if they were doing it to Joe Biden, and I liked Biden. I don't want here the media, give props. If I want to do that, I'll watch MSNBC or I'll watch Fox. I don't need that
Yeah.
on CB fucking S. But what they had here, it's just another thing about once you're out of the womb, you're fucked. They make it so hard in this fucking state to get an abortion. I think you've got to sit with a counselor or something like that, and they can indoctrinate you, make you feel guilty. It's all about guilt. But they have a law here. I don't know if it's like this in other states, but where you can, like, if you're like a young mother and you feel that you can't raise the baby, you can take it to a local fire department. And I think it's called the Good Samaritan or Moses law. I guess that's what it is because Moses was in Nile, Egypt. But they
Yeah.
have this thing here where they do that and there's no questions asked, which, I mean that's a good thing, I think. But there's like, they're supposed to have like four throughout the city. They have like one.
Yeah.
So they've gotten the money for this shit, but they still haven't fucking gone and done that. To do that, they make it hard to even give up a child to fucking raise. I mean, how long does it fucking take to do something like that? To do that, and that's something. It's just another example. Once you're born, you're fucked.
Republicans have no interest in helping people. They just don't. I would love to have any Trumplefuck um, tell me what they've done to help the middle class or the poorer class because they don't. I mean, their whole platform is to not help them, to steal from them, give to the rich, and that is their whole platform. Um, it's funny, of course, when I'm on Facebook and I'm talking to these clowns, and I kind of know who they are because they were from my past when I was young. One is a teacher who is like 82 years old, and he was kind of the cool hip teacher back in the day, but he's obviously losing it, and he's a big time stupid ass Trumplefuck, and I rip him to shreds constantly. Whenever I respond to him, I said, Ron, you're obviously diminished cognitively. I don't know how the fuck you were ever a teacher. In retrospect, um, you're fucking pitiful. You need somebody in your family needs to love you enough to say, Grandpa, please stay off the internet because you're making a fool out of yourself every time. Another guy comes along and he's a fake religious guy. He goes, why are you so mad, Mike? Um, I'm going to pray for you. I go, don't fucking pray for me. I got that covered on my own. And why am I so mad? I don't know. Here's the deal. We've got somebody who's covering up for the most heinous pedophile in history. We've got somebody who's endorsing killing innocent people in the streets. We've got people kidnapping people off the street, and people are dying there. We've got you motherfuckers trying to undermine democracy. That's why I'm pissed off. The fact that you're not pissed off makes me assume that you're cool with all this. You're cool with pedophilia. You're cool with killing people on the streets. Well, that's not what I said. I said it doesn't matter what you said, it's what you've done. And you support it. You fucking endorse it. So now it's on you. They don't like that. They don't like being tied to pedophiles, even though they're the motherfucking ones that always get caught.
Well, they're always the ones too that always, would have that thing about Biden and his granddaughter. I mean, they're always the ones that, what about Clinton? And it's like, what about this and what about that? And it's like, but I've had them literally tell me that Trump wasn't on the Epstein files.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they'll sit there and tell you that, and it's like, like I always say that if Hillary Clinton had been president, if she would have won in 16 and Joseph and Epstein died, all these people on the right would be, freaking out about, well, she killed him, like, how long do we hear about her killing Vince Foster?
Yeah.
I mean, that was literally something Rush Limbaugh sprout every day. And what
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh did is like what is like in full effect now is when you get to go and spew your bullshit without, the checks and balances. Hell, they had Megyn Kelly was talking about how she can't watch Fox anymore because it's like state-run TV for Trump. Welcome to the resistance, Megan. We've been saying that for 10 fucking years.
Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if you saw AOC was on the steps of the Capitol and somebody from Fox said,
Jesse Waters.
that
Yeah.
Jesse Waters wanted to talk to him. She said, "I'm not going to talk to him because he sexualized me," and he says he didn't do that. And then AOC pretty much shoved him in a garbage can and walked away. These people are stupid. Um, AOC would chew them up and spit them out. Have Pete Buttigieg on again. You seem to enjoy being fucking humiliated by somebody that's more intelligent than you are. Um, Donald Trump comes out and says that she tried to ram him. He was in the hospital. He almost died. That's part and parcel to who Donald Trump is. He takes little bits of information that he hears, not that he knows. He exaggerates, he elaborates on it, he puffs it up, and it's absolute bullshit. And he speaks as if it's true. Um, we were talking. I was talking to somebody the other day. I don't know if he believes it's true or he's just simply gaslighting. But in his current mental state, he could possibly believe everything he says, which makes it even more frightening. I'd rather at least know that he knows better, but he's just lying as opposed to just being completely fucking oblivious.
I think, I think it's from watching, back in the day I watched The Apprentice and they said that, he was fed all this stuff. I mean, you sit there and you watch him when he's talking to like Don or Ivanka and he wouldn't have a thought of his own. He would just agree with them. I mean, they would make their case for something and he goes and he would agree with them. Rarely would he come out on something of his own. That's why I think, people like Stephen Miller are the ones that are running, telling, feeding Trump stuff. He may even have a freaking like, it's like in Anchorman, Ron Burgundy, when
Yeah,
Christina Applegate found out that he'll literally read anything on the prompter. And at the end, he's signing off, uh, and go fuck yourself, San Diego. I mean, he literally will read anything, and they always kind of made fun of the kind of the. I mean, Trump's far from good looking, but that bubble-headed bleach blonde, is
yeah,
likes the on Don Henley's Dirty Little Laundry. I mean, you always get those people that aren't very smart, but Trump can be controlled. And if you look back at the old thing about him and his that movie that came out about him, how he's always done that. He's always it's like my dad told one of the few things my dad actually told me that was true was that you tell yourself a lie long enough, you'll start believing it. So
yeah,
that's what Trump does. Trump's the greatest thing ever. Trump's the greatest thing. He believes this. He tells himself that.
right.
And he still has that. and they know they have a puppet with him, with Stephen Miller. And that's why there's that New Orleans that physical therapist. I think the lady was on the other night. She mentioned him about how he's sundowning now. That's why he tweets at like all this time in the morning because he's on Adderall, one thing, and
Yeah.
he's supposedly, allegedly, and sundowning is when you get all this burst of energy. I mean, the guy has never slept, but he's not what he used to be because he thinks True Social is what Twitter used to be. Twitter used to be a powerful, great tool.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has destroyed that one. And he thinks True Social is that, but he's not trying to reach, people because he doesn't really care about the votes anymore. He's trying to convince himself. And when he writes these things on True Social, that's not him. It's probably him dictating to somebody. It's definitely
Well,
not him typing that because he's not that articulate.
no, he's not. Well, you can tell when he's written it or somebody else has written it.
All
But
caps.
while Truth Social doesn't have the kind of audience that Twitter had, he has a similar amount of power, and here's why. He puts it out on Truth Social.
Yep.
Only so many people see it, but every fucking media outlet puts it out. When he posts on Truth Social, then he's essentially posting on every mainstream media outlet. Either they're saying this is fucking crazy or this is fucking genius, but he does get a platform on it. In spite of the fact that he doesn't have as many followers on True Social by even close margin, he he does get the exposure because of the media. This is what I've always said. The media is as complicit as is as guilty about where we are now as anybody. They create the divisiveness because they tell different stories. Nobody has the same story. They will flat out lie. They'll give him a platform just because he's good for views. Um, the media is not helping us at this point. And I hope you mentioned like CBS and this clown that they hired as the lead anchor and the shit they're doing and the nod to Marco Rubio. What I'm hoping is that as people realize this, they just quit watching. They quit watching CBS. I mean, all these networks have been losing viewership by the tens of thousands for years now. It's eventually going to come to the point when all the millennials and Gen Zs are out there. They don't watch that kind of shit. Those powerhouse mainstream media outlets aren't going to be worth a shit because nobody watches them.
Yeah, and I was watching something too over the holidays, and I don't watch MSNBC like I used to, or MS Now, or whatever it's called. I'll watch Nicole. I'll watch Lawrence, of course,
Yeah, yeah,
and Jen, and sometimes Rachel Maddow. But a lot of people were kind of surprised too, and this is a big headline that Joe Scarborough still talking to Donald Trump.
yeah,
And it's like, that surprises you? I mean, you're not paying attention
yeah.
because you look at everything the Republicans have done. Joe Scarborough is still a fucking Republican. All the
Right.
stuff he's done, and he'll tell you as much. He's a Republican. And there was a time when Fox had, Hannity and Combs on there, the balance, but it was never that because Hannity won't shut up. I
Yeah.
mean, he's like a damn auctioneer. I mean, half the shit he says makes no sense, and it's just like who can talk faster. And the thing about it is that Joe Scarborough went and talked to Trump is like that doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
And it's like you watch that and it's like okay, people choose to watch Fox News. They choose to watch MSN now because they got, that way. But I think a lot, and I think what they're messing up is they should have, Nora O'Donnell, you could watch her. You could watch her. You didn't agree with her, but you knew that she wasn't like a Megyn Kelly. She wasn't
Right.
somebody, had an agenda, you know. But, CBS, I would think that, the network of Dan Rather and Walter Cronkite would still have, kind of an older base watching that. I mean, the people that watch CBS News probably aren't stupid like, the people that watch Fox.
Right.
And,
True.
so it's gonna, what they're doing is they're, people, I would think that the older people, I would think like I say Gen X and boomers, I would think they would see through this, but Trump got elected again, so I could be totally fucking wrong. I mean, what do I know?
Yeah, we've got an inordinate amount of dumb people in this country, and it sounds like I'm just making a snarky remark, but all you have to do is talk to people. If I
Oh
go
yeah.
on Facebook, the vast majority of the people, certainly all the people that are Republicans or support Donald Trump, they're dumb as fuck. I mean, I told one guy, I said, "Look, I can't I can't even talk to you because it's as if we're different species talking in different languages. You can't comprehend simple facts, simple truth, simple decency.
No.
I I can't take my time to talk to you because you're an idiot." And they say, "Oh, you're name calling now." I go, "I don't know why you think I'm above name calling you. If you think I'm one of those Democrats that plays the nice guy and is appropriate and all that shit, you haven't listened to me then, because I may be Democrat in leaning, but I don't act like most of them. I'll tell you to fuck off or that you're stupid and not be ashamed. You cannot shame me for calling you names, because I will tell you this, I think about it. If I call you an idiot, I will never take that back because I thought about it, I analyzed it, and I come to the deduction that you're a fucking idiot. And so don't try to shame me because I have no shame when it comes to what I say. I do think about what I'm going to say. And if I thought it was too far, I wouldn't fucking say it. But everything you write, I mean, this teacher that I know, he's writing all these things and they're just so disjointed, just lacking in cognitivity and geez, lame shots at me. I just just have to laugh. The fuckers are dumb. There's just a lot of dumb people in this country. And I'm sorry, but that's a fact. Prove me wrong.
Well, they doubled down on it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not, you can't, you used to be able to like, okay, that's a zebra, that's a lion. Well, no, 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 that's a giraffe. I mean, it's just, I mean, that's why, I said one of my New Year's resolution was I'm going to wait this shit out because it's like, especially where I live, down here, MAGA red that it is, you just, I mean, I was driving today and I saw this guy had a truck and it was a truck and you can buy those stickers for it or whatever. It was like I think it was a Dodge Ram and it said FJB edition.
Uh, yeah.
And I'm like, and I catch myself sometimes. I go, "Are you really surprised?" But then again, there's this Punisher, the Punisher, which is a Disney character, which was against corruption. Which most of MAGA would read comic books if they could read. They would
Yeah.
see a Punisher's anti-fascist. Well, there's this. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this Punisher thing, but it's got the Donald Trump hair on it.
Oh, no,
Well,
I
this
haven't.
motherfucker had two stickers on his truck next to the FJB edition. And and it's like these people are allowed to breed. They're allowed to vote.
Right.
I mean, I'm surprised they can fucking breathe or get up without fucking somebody telling them to do it. But
Well,
it's
most of these people, most of these Trumplafucks, I can't imagine they read a book unless there's crayons involved. A 64 pack. That's like a big lifted truck to them. I got the 64 pack of crayons and I'm going to color the fuck out of this book and I'm a literary genius.
yeah, but I mean it does, when you hear all these stories about these people losing all this money because the guy called from, Windows tech support, and you're like, how can you really? You fell for that? And I mean, there really is, there is a annual Darwin Award winner for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like Darwin was so right, it's survival of the fittest. And I've quoted him on here before, and he'd probably be a big trumper, but John Wayne said it best, and he would probably be one of these too. He says, life's tough. It's even worse when you're stupid.
Yeah.
But it's like okay, I'm out here talking to somebody and I say that's a walrus. Well, I have this other guy telling me it's a fucking elephant. Well, this other guy is going to defend that guy saying it's a fucking elephant because he's got an R next to his name and I don't vote that way.
Right.
And that's
Right.
exactly what
Exactly.
it was. I mean, it's I told somebody one time, working in this stuff, me and my buddy were talking, and these guys found out that both of them like Trump. I mean, it's just like when they see each other, it's like, and I go, I'm surprised you didn't high five your dicks together. I mean, it's that way. It's like when it's almost like your favorite sports team. Like say I'm in Dallas or I go to Washington, right? And so Washington's playing Dallas, and I drink the Kool-Aid for Dallas. I mean, I've always been a fan. That's what I am. But like you see another Cowboy fan, you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how MAGA is.
Oh, it
And
is. It's a club. It's a
I,
tribe.
and I saw this, and I was talking to my friend Laura, who listens to like, hi Laura.
Hey, Laura.
We had these co-workers that worked together, and one was Hispanic and one was white. And I told her this that I was hearing these two people talk, and they were talking about how great it would be to be on a conservative island, which fucking sounded boring as fuck to me. And then Laura pointed out, says, yeah, but he wouldn't be allowed on there. And it's true because he's Hispanic.
Yeah.
But it's like a conservative thing. I mean, I grew up with that stuff my whole life about, the racism. And I guess I never condoned it, but I always knew it was around me.
Oh, definitely.
And you would see it now, you would see a lot of times that, that the minorities would vote for the Democrats because, the Republicans were racist. And you heard about this stuff. But now you've got everything so blurry. And it's because it's like you said, Donald Trump isn't a politician, he's a showman. And people, they don't care about, hey, you're going to get, $5,000 to buy your first house, like, she was saying, Kamala was saying.
Yeah.
You know, they rather work for the guy who has concepts of a plan. And we still haven't seen his fucking healthcare plan yet.
No, we haven't. Some people have said this shooting in Minneapolis is a tipping point for this Republican Party. Now, we've said that before about different circumstances that have happened, different fuck ups that Donald Trump has done. But I think it might be a tipping point. And I'll tell you why, because I think that this shooting was a huge fuck up by the Republicans, by ICE. And here's why. People are acting like this is the first shooting that ICE has been involved in. In 2025, they were involved in 9 shootings. There were people killed in Chicago. There have been people that have died in detention. The number of people that have died under the control of ICE in any number of ways last year was 32. The year before, it was 12. So there's been a big upsurge of people dying at the hands of ICE. But where they fucked up and why we don't hear about those other things is because this woman was white, she wasn't an immigrant, and she wasn't protesting. They fucked up when they killed a white woman because it's going to get much more attention. It's going to get much more pushback. We're seeing the protest, not only in Minneapolis, but around the fucking country. This has pissed off people nationwide. They fucked up, and this could be a tipping point. This may be something they can't fix. What do you think about that?
I think you're right because why did they come out so strongly saying he was right? They
Yeah,
wanted to kill the narrative what it was. And what's sad is that we look at that and see, well, she's a white woman. Shouldn't fucking matter what she is. He,
it
she,
should.
black, white. But of course, but that's what we've become. That's what this society's become. I mean, it's like you have, I mean, I see a lot of things say it too, is like, of course they're going to talk about her. She's a white girl. Like if a white girl's missing, they always bring up the white girl missing, they don't talk about the minority ones missing.
Right.
Like we had a thing here in San Antonio, it was unfortunate over Christmas, is a teenage girl, 18, 19 years old, well, she disappeared and she was Hispanic, very pretty girl. And so they were looking for her and everything and, searching for her. I think even the feds were involved. And my first thing is, did ICE get her? I mean, did ICE, grab her? Because, there's still a thing going on around called human trafficking where people disappear.
Right.
A lot of people disappear throughout, every year, and it ain't the fucking aliens doing the abduction from space. Okay, let's just say
Right.
that. But a lot of people go missing, and who's to say that when, somebody's coming at you, telling you to get out of there, they got a gun waving in your head, you're gonna get the fuck out of there. But
Yeah.
what she did is she was missing, and I was thinking, well, it could have been, ICE that got her. A person could say, and they've had people say that, hey, I'm ICE, you know what I mean? Come with us. Friend of the show, Ode Soul. What happened to her?
Yeah.
It's like they go after her and they see a woman walking by themselves. If Old Soul was traveling alone, if she had a man with her, would they have done the same thing? You don't know because they
No.
want to go after the most vulnerable. Well, this girl was missing and everything, and the first thing I thought it was ICE, but unfortunately she was depressed, I guess, and they found her she had committed suicide. But we've gotten to the point now where, we always tell women, anybody to watch what you're doing. I mean, women get attacked in parks all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, now the it's so amazing that, the Trump administration was so against masks. They're okay with ICE wearing them.
Yeah. It's ironic, isn't it? Yeah, anything that benefits them, therefore, anything that they feel, the interesting thing is when you talk about COVID and you talk about masks, they were dead set against anything the government would do to put upon them.
Mm.
We want freedom. We want freedom. Now that Donald Trump is in office, there's nothing but restrictions on people for fucking everything. And they love it. So it has nothing to do with freedom. It has nothing to do with choice. It just has to do with being caught up in this fucking cult. And if you are, you're stupid. And, one thing I think it's done to people, I've already been at this point long ago when this is all over. And some of these people come to an epiphany and they go, oh God, I was wrong. I'm sorry, I was wrong. And they're going to want forgiveness and they're going to want to be pulled in because what they don't understand is when this is over, their lives are going to be hell. On Facebook, I kept saying, you know what? The reckoning's coming and it's not going to be good for you and you'll crawl back under your rocks. What do you think they said to me? What do you mean reckoning? I'm ready. I go, look, you fucking meathead. It has not, I'm 65 years old. This isn't high school anymore. You don't know the definition of reckoning. You maybe ought to Google that shit. It doesn't mean I'm going to fight you. Although, if you were standing in front of me, I might slap the taste out of your mouth. But a reckoning in the sense that there's going to be a huge amount of embarrassment, a huge amount of eating crow, and a huge amount of accountability for this stuff. Um, I've said if you voted for Donald Trump 3 times, if you still support Donald Trump, in my mind, you're unredeemable. You can't come back. You can't come back from the darkness. There is no forgiveness that can be given to you. And I think this shooting has brought more people to my way of thinking than we've ever had before. They're fucking done. They're mad and they're never going to forgive people who supported this kind of shit.
Well, I guess I'm maybe a little bit more, I guess, I don't know. I don't as optimistic as you are, I guess, because where I live.
Yeah,
Because after January 6th, I mean, I don't know how anybody could support the guy, but a lot of these people
absolutely.
I knew were called themselves Christians and always preaching to me because I'm the agnostic, in their eyes, an atheist. But I have more empathy for my fellow human being than these so-called Christians, and I
Yeah,
mean, even the church, even the Catholic Church today, one of the dioceses, or I don't know, there's so many of them, came out and freaking, told, pretty much said JD Vance was full of shit. And a lot of these people that say they worship Christ, Christ was a fucking liberal with an attitude.
yeah, yeah,
He hung out with prostitutes, he walked on water, so he probably, I don't know, they had for them that wine more than, the average, teetotaler would. I mean, yeah, Jesus, and I see these commercials and they really hit you to where they're like, what if, Jesus was there and stuff like that. And I used to kind of just it used to irritate me, but I think we need those because you sit here and you thump your Bible and you tell me that I'm going to hell, and then you tell me, well, who's going to heaven? And you tell me people like you. I was like, well, fuck, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah.
Who I want to hang out with, Jimmy Swaggart or Ozzy Osbourne. I fucking tell you right now who I want to hang out with. And it's just, it's that I guess it's that the one thing good about Trump, and I think it continues. Yeah, Trump's got this stuff and he wins. And I just think that, he won because we didn't show up for Kamala like we did for Biden. I
Right.
think
Well, that's true.
people do have that short attention span the Republicans count on. How else could we get, elect our governor after our power grid goes out? No, it's fine. Freeze grandma. Let's vote for him again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they count on. They count on people being disgruntled. That's why they don't fucking give you water. That's why they fucking gerrymander the fuck out of shit because they can't win on their policies. The Republican Party of John McCain is dead. The Republican Party of Donald Trump, or as Jimmy Fallon called him, what he called him, Donald Jennifer Trump or something like that the other day. That was
Donald
awesome.
Jennifer Trump. Yeah.
And it was like, I guess I'm just not as optimistic because we still had that thing in the House to where they didn't vote for the investigation.
I don't
And
know
then,
if you understood. I don't know if you understood what I said. I'm not saying that there won't be some people that will stick with Donald Trump no matter what. What I'm saying is those people that get the epiphany,
I get
that
that.
see they were wrong because of what's been exposed by Donald Trump, the ones that have enough sensibility, they go, "Oh fuck, I was wrong." My point is those people who come back and say I was wrong, I'm sorry. There's not a lot of sympathy for them. People have been pushed to the limit. If someone walks up to me and says, I voted for Donald Trump 3 times, but I'm sorry now, my answer is fuck you. You cannot be trusted.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I voted Republican before Trump. I never voted for Trump. But you're all right because there are people that I know that voted for Trump the first time that have nothing to fucking do with him since.
Well, and
Daniel,
I can
I,
give them a break
but I
because it
but I
was
think
just a stupid choice.
but I think you're right. But I also think the Republican Party itself still doesn't get it because I read something today that my senator Ted Cruz, him and this other guy, they're trying to impeach these judges, I guess, that have been hard and have not given Trump his due. They're trying to impeach them. They're hoping, I guess, the House takes it up to where they can vote them and get them out impeached. And I've seen actually people saying, on both sides saying that's kind of fucked up because just because you would disagree with somebody's decision, you want to impeach them. What does that sound like? Trump was impeached for cause. And I think it
Yeah.
was Mike Pence that was talking about this, was saying that, we never had this before. And I'm just like, well, that's what authoritarianism and fascism is. He doesn't want these judges to do this. That's why
Right.
he shops to the Supreme Court. And the thing about the Supreme Court is, I don't know what's going to happen, but they've got to be looking at, at least 2 seats, replacing them with Republicans. And you know who Trump, after this happened, who Trump was high on? Ted Cruz. Because, and it's sad is that the Republicans may do what we should have done with Ruth. We should have let her resign and Obama appoint somebody. But the Republicans may do that. But, when a Democrat gets up there, I like Joe Biden, I voted for him, but they got to stack that Supreme Court because, I mean,
That's the
we,
only choice.
we get like 3 steps ahead and they knock us back two. So it's like we have one step. We can't be doing like this if we want to survive as a nation.
Well, no, the thing about it is that's why it's important for us to win the House and the Senate. Typically, what would happen, and they may do it before now, somebody like Clarence Thomas or Alito,
Yeah, they could stand that.
uh, Thomas Alito, they would force them to quit before Democrats take power as the president of the United States. And then they put in their favorite Republicans or conservatives in there. That's what should have happened with Ginsburg. Um, but she held on and she couldn't hold on long enough. So we get another seat that goes to the Republicans. The only thing we really can do is stack the Supreme Court, but that's something we absolutely have to fix because if we have one branch that's not credible, we have a problem with our democracy as a whole. We need all three branches strong, which is fucked up to say because we've got all three branches currently not credible, not legitimate. And that means that our democracy is hanging by a thread when we have no accountability, we have no checks and balances, we have nothing going for us here. That is a recipe for disaster. If we get power back at some point, we need to do what we can to fix it as quickly as possible. The interesting thing is, if we get back the House and the Senate and Alito quits or Clarence Thomas quits, if we control the House and the Senate, they're going to have a hell of a time getting anybody approved.
Well, what I was thinking we'll do is, if we when we win the midterms, the House looks pretty much given, but you're having these people. I noticed that you have these stories that are put out there. Well, it's gonna, Democrats may win it, but it's not gonna be a blue wave. And it was like, well, how can you say that when it's not so much the Democrat voters showing up? I don't think the Republicans are going to show up.
I
I,
think that's probably true. They're not going to vote Democrat, but they just will vote.
yeah, show up because, like you said, they're going to be, we chipped away since, January 6th. People saying, oh, that's too much. Yeah, I voted for him the first time, but never again. And, maybe even people that voted for him in 2020 hearing that it was, rigged when it wasn't. I mean, he's still fucking going off on that shit. I mean, come on, Grandpa, wake up. 2020 is
Let that
fucking.
fucker go.
And but they tell us that we need to get over January 6th, but they still keep talking about 2020. Go fucking figure.
Yeah.
And they do win the House, and they win the Senate. Our girl Jasmine wins. And how do you? I mean, they only have that November till the end of the year with the majority in there. Do you see they push them through? Can they get two seats, at least one through in that short period of time? It seems that would
Oh,
be.
you mean that period between the election and
I say we win both and we win it substantially. I
they
mean,
got about a month after that.
I got to say that I think that they may try to pull that because they're going to be screwed.
Well, let me put it to you this way. That would be the smart thing to do,
That's true.
but these are Republicans. They always fuck up. I mean, that's one thing you can always count on. They're going to always fuck up. But I suspect if the November elections go as we suspect, they are going to try to push Clarence Thomas and Alito out so they can replace them with younger people. Yeah, I don't question that.
I mean, you're talking about one egomaniac talking to another egomaniac. That's a lot of power right there. I mean,
Yeah.
does like Clarence Thomas want to give that up? I mean, yeah, I
Well,
know.
that's the other thing.
Yeah. I mean, are they going to want to do that? Because it's like, well, what am I getting here? What are you going to give me if I step down? Maybe that's what, Ruth was thinking, what can I get here? I'll lose my identity if I step down,
Well,
but
and or maybe Donnie has a little something on each of them and forces them out.
yeah. Um, I want to bring up something too about, it all goes back to Russia, you know what I mean? And I think that's why Trump has such a hard on for Putin. Have you noticed that, we're doing this stuff with Venezuela and how we're kind of messing with some of the Russian tankers or whatever?
Yeah, that's not going to go over well.
They're not in cahoots with each other to kind of work together, or they're making it look like on the world stage that there's tensions and Trump's not Putin's puppet. I
Right.
mean, what would make Trump stand up to Putin? I mean, we all know that he's probably got stuff on him. So it wouldn't put it past me if they're working. I mean, I hate to be a conspiracy, but why? But why? I mean, and honestly, Trump's got everything he wants right now. I mean, he got in the Epstein files to quit talking about it, and of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't fulfill her thing of reading the names,
No,
and
she didn't.
she took
Not
the high
surprising.
wants to run for office again. But we were talking about her and how we don't trust her. She was on The View the other day. Yes, I watched The View. No, I'm just kidding. They were talking about how she was saying she's never seen a MAGA ever do anything like she was defending the January 6th people. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like she hasn't changed. She's afraid of Trump, and she may have actually had a moment of clarity, but I don't think it was because she saw the light. I think she saw opportunity. She, unlike most of the MAGA, like, Mike Johnson, I guess they think he's going to live forever. I mean, if you're doing all Trump's bidding, he may have immunity. You don't.
No, absolutely not. I heard something about the Epstein files. People will think, well, we're distracted from it. We'll never hear about it again. That's bullshit.
Really bad.
Epstein files. In fact, they talked about today about the prospect in Congress, talked about um, assigning a special master,
All
kind of
that.
like what they had down in Florida with Donald Trump and all that stuff, and that would move things along. And I've always said, look, we don't need all the files. We just need one picture, one video, one document, just one thing to take Donald Trump down. Because the moment Donald Trump's out of the way, it's going to flood out.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's not worry about all the files. Let's just worry about cutting the head off the snake.
He's like that old lion that's the head of the tribe or whatever, or the pride is what they call him. And once he gets sickly or whatever, and those young ones come there, they pretty much off the old lion that was
Yeah.
living. They're going to do that because they're already fighting for MAGA, whoever does it now. I mean, there's such a war going on right now. And you see the Dem and I think what the Democrats are doing, I think they're just kind of they're like biding their time. They see this stuff coming. I think that, it doesn't look like we're going to have a shutdown after all because the Democrats are just, I don't think they really want to mess with that stuff. And they got
You think that's true? You don't think they'll shut it down? As-
they passed the
as-
budget. They passed the budget in the House today. The
hold on a second. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I wanted to talk about that. There's some things that happened in Congress today. Um, what you're talking about is the extension of the subsidies for the ACA. They passed it in the House. 17 Republicans voted for it, and that's fine. Um, but we kind of knew it was going to pass because they had the discharge petition. Mike
Correct.
Johnson did everything he could to even slow it down yet, even though they had the discharge petition. It passed in the House by 230 to 196 or something like that. 17 Republicans voted for it. And people were talking about it like, oh, okay, we're going to extend the subsidies. Hold everything. It's got to go to the Senate. And what is the Senate going to do? We don't know what the fucking Senate's going to do. They may shut it down. But even if the Senate passes it, you still got to get Donald motherfucking Trump to sign it. So there's a long way to go. And you got to do it by next week.
They al-
So
they also
it's
passed, oh, go ahead.
well, so what I'm saying is if the ACA subsidies are the hinge on the continuing resolution at the end of the month, I I'm not so sure that's going to happen. I'm not so sure they're going to pass this bill. There was a time I thought they might, but looking at the Republicans and the way they're voting in certain things, I'm not positive that they're going to pass it.
Yeah, they passed that, but they also passed a minibus spending bill, which was bipartisan. That was like 397 to 28. And they say they're passing that to fund the Department of Justice, Department of Commerce, and key agencies because they said Democrats, they're voting with them because they're trying to avoid a shutdown. But then again, that's the House. We still got to go to the Senate. So, but
Yeah.
it seems to me that I don't think I think the Democrats blew their opportunity to get all this Obamacare done when they caved on the bill back in December. I think,
I, I I agree with you. Thank you, Chuck Schumer and all your other pussies. They should have. They went as long as they did. They should have wrote it to the end.
and they had the support, they had the polling, and everything was behind them. Everything I mean, their messaging was actually working for once, and what they do, stop it. And I honestly believe that's why Democrats aren't not popular because I mean, say what you want to about Trump, I mean, he's too stupid to quit. I mean, a lot of
He
us like
is.
we're getting beat. Fuck it, I'm going home, man. Not Trump. He fucking doubles down on the shit, and I think a lot of people, like we're talking that with Vance, I think that I think you're seeing a lot of that, and I think that all the times I hear these rumors about Patel, Cash Patel, and Hegsworth and Hegsworth, whatever his name is, and what do you call
Exeth.
Insurrection Barbie? No, that was Marjorie Taylor Greene. What was Gnome? What do they call her?
I call her Botox Barbie, but you can
And
call her anything.
yeah, but it's
Or
like
slut. Slut's good too.
dog killer is what I call her.
Yeah.
So, when I hear that they're going to get rid of them for incompetence, I'm like, well, look who the fucking head Cheeto is.
Yeah.
But I did laugh at that. Who's that guy? I always get his name, Born Johnny or whatever, the bald dude that was number two,
Bongino.
Gino. He went back to his talk show and he's getting slammed by MAGA, calling him a PD defender.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he, like you said, I mean, all all we're seeing is what you see on Facebook and Twitter and or TikTok. Talk about people, supporting this stuff, but the majority of people are not exposing that stuff. They're not doing that. And I mean, I think a lot of people will, if you have a decent bone in your body and you have a fucking brain and you're not the fucking scarecrow, I mean, it's like fucking, you saw what happened yesterday. I mean, and it's like it's awful. It's god
Yeah.
awful. I mean, I thought what happened to Charlie Kirk was awful. I mean, I didn't want to see that shit too. But it's like that was just and it's something that we see with school shootings all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just something that, it's like the guns have more rights than the kids.
There's no question that they do. And I've said to the people on TikTok, and I'm maybe getting in trouble for it, but Tim Wall said something after the shooting that I agree with, but I don't like to hear because it just more of the same. Tim Walz said, everybody's worried that Minnesota's going to get like the George Floyd thing, and I knew it wouldn't because it wasn't racial, and I don't know that they're going to be successful with the right wing agitators coming in. Um, but he said, don't take the bait. They want a show. They want us to fight so they can invoke insurrection in the in the city of Minneapolis or the state or whatever they want to do. And what he's saying there is absolutely true. We've always known that. We've always done that. But here we have a peaceful protest, and they're still shooting motherfuckers. So is laying back and just taking it still the answer? And I suggested, look, we don't have any laws anymore. There is no justice. There is no law. There is no guardrails. Um, Maybe we have to just accept what they've said. This is the Wild West out there now. If some guy in a mask comes up to you, he's not identifiable, and he's going to pull you out of the car and you're a citizen, if you're in Florida, you have stand your ground. You have a right to protect yourself. So that Second Amendment that the Republicans like, they are foolish to think that Democrats don't have guns too. And
Well,
maybe that's what it comes down to.
that's what's so fucking crazy about this shit. There's people that have been here 45 fucking years are getting deported. And there's people
Yeah.
getting deported to countries I've never fucking been to before.
Yeah.
If you don't and if you don't think that can't happen to you, I saw somebody on TikTok was talking about that about how you know, Trump's talked about this before about taking guns away, and that's what the right doesn't get.
Yeah.
Trump could take the rights away and he'd blame Biden and that fucking MAGA would believe it. But every time, excuse me, Biden and Obama there was always a run for ammunition, especially during Obama, because they thought that, he was going to take the guns away. I never
Yeah.
heard Obama talk about taking guns away, but I heard Trump talking about it. And what MAGA
Abs-
doesn't, what they don't realize is that Trump's doing this stuff and he's setting a precedent to where like you said, there is no law. So what does the government fear the most? And MAGA always, the right has always told me, Tom Selleck coming on the NRA magazines and telling me that we have a right to a well-armed militia, militia or whatever it's called.
Militia.
I
Yeah.
mean, why would the government sponsor that if they knew that there's so many guns out there? Why don't they just take them away and you would have so much protesting? You got this stuff and you're starting off with blue counties, blue states. What's to say that, or what's to say you get a Democrat in there as crazy as Trump and he starts taking the guns away? I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting to a point to where we can't go back. I mean, it's like when you have a child and they have no consequences for their actions, they're going to continue with it because they don't have to. And once that kid gets into like, adulthood and their teenage years, it's like they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, we may be going into a thing to where we may never come back from.
Well, we're at that point. Like I said, we're maybe at a tipping point. We either start to win this thing or there is no room to go back. And I'm the guy glass half full guy. So I fully believe that we will get through this. We're going to go through some shit. I've said that before. When you're dealing with a narcissist and they're cornered and they've got no place to go, it gets real ugly real quick. The good news, it's a sign that the end is near because the crash is coming. Problem is a lot of people are going to suffer over it. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing people being killed or shot in the streets by our own government. How do you square that? In anybody's lifetime, Republican or Democrat, how do you square that that's okay? It goes against the code of conduct for the military, yet we don't see any military standing up and saying enough. They participate. We have the whole thing with Venezuela. Now, I don't know if you heard about this in the Senate. Donald Trump goes and bombs Venezuela, pulls Maduro out. First, it's about drugs, then it's about regime, and that's all bullshit. Then he starts talking about oil. Donald Trump said the quiet thing out loud. I don't know if you heard this. He said, yeah, we're going to grab up all the oil, sell it on the open market, which he won't be able to do. He's too stupid to even understand that. We're going to sell it on the open market and then put the money in offshore accounts and I'll manage it. If you're a Republican, doesn't that even sound a little sketchy?
Offshore accounts, yeah, why can't this? I thought America First was the fucking thing, and that's all you really got to ask a fucking Trumplefuck is just like America First. Why are we fucking in Venezuela? Why are we talking about fucking Greenland? And I keep hearing that thing too. I keep hearing people, it's like, well, our military back when they got to attack Greenland, they won't do that. I mean, we attacked Venezuela and they did it. I mean, it's like, what is, I don't know. I mean, it's
I I, I think Greenland's going to be an entirely different thing because they got the backing of Denmark. Denmark's not weak. Plus, you've got all of Europe that's not going to stand for this shit. He's going to get some more pushback, and I think Donald Trump realized that because I don't know if you heard his recent plan.
no.
His
Well,
reason first they said, "Oh, we'll just buy Greenland." Okay, yeah, you got
that's
to have
Rubio.
somebody to
Rubio
sell.
said Rubio said we'd buy it.
Right. Well, it came out today that now the idea is that they're going to give everybody in Greenland
Oh yeah.
10,000 up to $100,000 to come with us. And who's paying for that? Me and you are paying for it. Are we okay with that? Are Republicans okay with that? Is it going to even work? No, of course not. It's not going to work. Everybody hates Donald Trump. Everybody fears Donald Trump. You give somebody from Greenland $100,000, do you think they're going to give up their sovereignty for $100,000?
Well, that's the
It's
thing about
unbelievable.
it gets me about, and you talk about everybody being afraid of Trump. I don't get it why.
No, I don't either.
Trump is supposed to be this, masculinity stuff. The dude fucking colors his hair. He paints his fucking face. I mean,
Yeah,
he wears diapers. I mean, he's not what you call John Wayne in his prime.
no,
He's not, maybe Krusty the Clown, with the
yeah.
makeup, badass, but it's like, I mean, I don't get that either. That, and that's why we need, and I think that, we need somebody that will, stand up to him like, Gavin Newsom's doing, but we need more of that. We don't need strongly worded letters. We need more people like the mayor of fucking Minnesota,
Yeah,
and it's amazing how they were going after him for saying that. It's like somebody just got killed in his fucking town, and they're
yeah,
blaming her, the victim.
yeah.
I'm
It's ridiculous.
say more shit than that, but of course the media will. Don't you think that was a little much? And it's like I mean, they're shaming the people that are outraged. It's like, you know, it's like, a victim of crime, well, what did you do to prevent the mugging? I mean, it's always shame the victim, and that's what they were doing to him. And I think he'll probably win re-election pretty easily.
Who's that?
The
Oh,
mayor that
oh,
told him to get the fuck out.
the mayor just won re-election, so he's there for a while. Tim Walz isn't going to run for the mayor or the governor
He's running.
of the
Oh, right.
country. What's that?
He's running. Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah,
She's running for governor. That's good.
and she's the most popular politician in the state, whether you like her or not. She's going to win.
No.
But as I've said before, once Amy Klobuchar resigns from the Senate and takes the governorship, she can appoint anybody she wants to finish out her Senate term. It could be Tim Walz, could be fucking anybody, really. So
What, the My Pillow guy don't have a chance or what? Mike, are
I,
you telling me that?
I think he's got some problems. I think he's got some credibility problems, and he's probably not going to make it. He's going to be disappointed and broke again. He's yeah, I'm not worried about any Republican that's running for governor in Minnesota. There isn't one worth a shit. And at this stage with the Republican Party in the situation they are now, no, but nobody in Minnesota is going to vote for a Republican governor. It's just not going to happen.
How stupid are you to have a multi-million dollar company, a fucking cheap product they probably make in China for like $5 and you sell for like 50, and you fuck that up. There's
Yeah,
nothing you literally have to do. That shit sells itself.
yeah.
Said MAGA can't help themselves because I mean, it's like these people, they try to grift like Trump, but they haven't gotten, I mean, I give Trump credit for that. He don't back down. Like he said, he's too stupid to do that. Motherfucker makes money. I mean, it's like, I remember the old days back when, Hunter Biden's laptop was something because he made $10,000 from Ukraine.
But
Yeah,
you
I
know,
make
thing
five
about it is though, Donald
crypto.
Trump can't make money legitimately. He can't
No.
make money legitimately. Everything he makes money from, like crypto and all this other stuff, is a fucking grift, or he's stolen it, or he's done whatever. Donald Trump isn't a good businessman. He's a somewhat successful criminal, a thief. That's what he is.
Yeah, you can fool all the people all the time, or you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can fool MAGA all the time. Because
Every motherfucking time.
because it's like
Yeah.
you see those memes and you see those trailers that have the Trump things on there, and they're poor as fuck in some of the poorest counties.
Yeah.
And you talk about Facebook, and I have relatives on there that I don't talk to anymore because of this stuff, because they try to witness to me about Christ. And it's like, okay, I'll maybe listen to that because the guy seemed like a decent guy if he did exist. But don't start telling me how godly you are and how much it goes to church and every day, and you support an insurrectionist, you support a guy that's, admitted to sexual assault. I mean, you don't have that much equity with me to do that. And
Yeah.
it's just like you honestly, what I would tell people is just take a breath. I know we're going through a lot of shit, a lot of stuff's going on, but this will soon pass. And
Yeah.
I a lot of people get
I
on
don't know
TikTok.
how soon, but it will pass.
Yeah, a lot of people get on TikTok and they, oh my God, me and Mike have all this, this protein powder we're gonna sell you to stock up in your silos and stuff. And they call silos that up there, or sellers up there. Like what was
Silos.
Jim Baker during COVID was selling that crystal stuff that fucking cured COVID. And even the Trump administration sued him for that. I mean, like, That's pretty bad when the fucking administration, that's the difference between this administration and the first administration. They actually had people there in the justice system that were actually going after grifters. They'd probably put him
Yeah.
in the cabinet this term. But yeah, you can't let the bastards get you down. You gotta stay focused and you can't be afraid. That's what they want. They want you to be afraid. They want you not to go vote. They want you to do that shit. And I ain't saying it's gonna be easy. I mean, you're talking to somebody down here in freaking red meat, Texas, and talk about a blue dot somewhere. But Republicans may down here may have messed up with the gerrymandering thing. And I don't think Abbott's as popular as he thinks he is. And I'm not so much, Democrats don't show up to vote. But what I'm hoping is with, the boomers and Gen Xers passing away, hopefully these two right here not anytime soon. But I'm hoping that, the Republicans don't have the numbers they had before because there's got to be a change because Trump's not as popular with the Hispanic votes as they say. He's dropped big time. And that's what they're counting on. They're counting on the 2024, you know, thing of what they got to make these gerrymandering. So you may have them getting a little too greedy, and I hope it comes back to bite them in the ass.
Well, the gerrymandering thing does two things. It makes blue districts a little stronger for red. But the only way they can do that is diminish the strength from the red districts.
Mhm.
So you have a red district that's solidly red and they're going to win it no matter what. So you take some away from that, put it in the blue state. So presumably to win the blue district with more red people in it. But it diminishes what you have in the guaranteed red district. And then you throw in all the shit we're dealing with now, deportations, bad economy, prices going up, unemployment going up. You probably don't want too many districts that are close because
Yeah.
you could lose those. And like you say, it could kick them in the ass when it's all said and done. And the reason I say that is because of what I always go back to say. They always have these great ideas, but they always fuck up. They always fuck up. They always make a mistake. They bite themselves in the ass every fucking time, and I enjoy that immensely.
Did you notice though that Florida's been very quiet, and then all of a sudden Ron
Yeah.
comes out and says something? You think that winning in Miami, you think that had something to do with it? And that may kind of like, well, fuck, maybe we need to. Because I never heard Florida even talking about it. Then all of a sudden we're what into 2026, and he's announced that he's gonna do the gerrymandering stuff.
Yeah.
So we're getting a little scared down in Florida. He ain't exactly what you call popular either.
No, and he's out on 2026. He can't run again. Then you throw in
But
the fact that
but again, then fucking there's no rule of law anymore, like you said.
well, that's true, but they'd have to change it in order for him to actually be doing it. Plus, he's kind of in the middle of a fraud case with he and his wife, $30 million that's missing thereabouts.
Fuck it's
Ron
Biden.
DeSantis
Fucking
has,
Joe Biden. It's always Biden. God.
yep, it's always Biden, but but Ron DeSantis, I never understood why he was a viable candidate for president because he is not the smartest man. Emotionally, he's broken. You can see that he's easily riled up. Ron isn't a good politician, and he'll leave as governor. And then who knows what he'll do? Maybe Donald will try to put him in his cabinet, but that won't be for long because Donald Trump and his cabinet are on a short fucking lease right now too. So yeah, Florida would be interesting if we could flip it. Like I've told people, somebody says, well, if the Democrats don't win North Carolina and South Carolina, they're going to lose the election. Not if they get Florida or Texas. Fuck South Carolina and North Carolina. And who's to say they're not going to win? I think the North Carolina is going to end up having a Democratic senator, the former governor that's going to be running for the Senate seat. He's very well thought of and very popular. He could very well win it. Have you ever noticed that people, especially Democrats, they always like to pick out the things, yeah, but if this happens, we're doomed. Or if that happens, we're doomed. They just are dead set on the doom and gloom of it all. And people will say to me, they'll say, how can you always have some hope? I said, what's my option? Based on history, hope always comes through eventually. We go through some shit, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. But if you don't have hope, it's just a matter of curling up in a corner and waiting to fucking die.
Well, it's like the
There's
stuff.
no there's no circumstance where I'll ever do that.
It's like the stuff in New York. All we heard was, that, if he gets elected for mayor, that, we're just going to hear, people are going to be leaving New York. Nobody's fucking left New York. You
Hell
know,
no.
you look at what he ran on, he beat some fucking powerful fucking people. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's that bad to where the Republicans, if we had that here, they're doing the same thing to Jasmine Crockett. It's like maybe she should run as herself, and maybe the Democrats ought to embrace that because obviously the old guard isn't working and we're not winning. So if they
Right.
ran on a democratic socialist platform like a Bernie Sanders or whatever, maybe they'll win. Because it's like you said that if he would have ran, he should have won in 2016. If he would have
Right.
been a candidate. But Hillary was too establishment. Maybe Jasmine Crockett is what Texas needs. That you're tired of the establishment because there ain't nothing more establishment than fucking Ted Cruz or John Cornyn.
Oh no, absolutely. And with Jasmine Crockett, what gives me some hope with her is how much they're talking shit about her. Oh, it's a joke. She can't win. This is crazy. She won't win. Same thing they did to Mondami.
Yeah.
And how'd that turn out? I don't think it's about them not worried about Jasmine Crockett. I think it's just the opposite. They're definitely worried about Jasmine Crockett. She's too smart, too articulate, and she's tough too. I mean, that's she'll talk tough. And as much as conservatism, I'd be willing to bet more people voted for Donald Trump because of the way he talked
Yeah.
and how he was going to be their champion and he was going to be tough than the fact he was Republican. I think it's more about the brand, it's more about the attitude, it's more about people having a champion fighting for them. The people in Texas are going to have to take a look at what their state is doing and what they're personally doing in this situation. And if they need a fighter, out of all those people that are running, whether it be Tallarico, whether it be Jasmine Crockett or Cornyn or Paxton, she's the only fighter amongst them. Maybe Texans go, fuck, we need something. I think she has a good chance of winning that, and I have nothing to base that on. I don't live in Texas. I don't know all the candidates as well as I should, but I don't think it's about policies anymore. I think that if people are struggling, they'll vote any way they have uh, to get out of it. They'll try to get the relief somehow. And if that means voting for a Democrat or just not voting at all, they'll do that.
Well, you're obviously it doesn't really matter about the party because Trump wasn't a Republican. He was a Democrat before. He registered as a Democrat. He ran as a Democrat. And but when they say how you gonna win, it's gonna be you're gonna be a Republican because I don't think any Democrat that would think would actually vote. Yeah, Schumer and Pelosi took his money, but they probably wouldn't fucking vote for him, and he knew that. But
No,
where does
hell
he
no.
go? He goes over to the fucking Republicans to where they nominate Sarah Palin as their fucking vice president. They'll fucking vote for anybody. And I and I
That
truly,
was one
I
of the
truly,
biggest mistakes ever,
I
putting
truly,
her as
oh,
VP.
Trump makes the biggest mistake. I mean, but he never forgave Steve Schmidt or Nicole Wallace for that either. So I mean, it said that in that was that movie that he did with Woody Harrelson and stuff, and the girl from Saturday Night was it she there for Saturday Night Live? Was that the girl who was in it? And that she yeah, that when they saw that they I mean it's you went from say what you want to about the Reagans and the former Republicans, but it pretty much dumbed down politics. I mean
Yeah.
I mean my God, the girl was in front of a fucking turkey thing as they're getting fucking butchered. I mean I miss those days because the fucking shit we're seeing now makes Sarah Palin look almost smart.
Yeah, it really does. But I think you're right. I think that was the start of it. They picked her for one reason, because they thought she had the look to get it done. She's the fucking governor of Alaska. You might as well be the fucking manager of a 7-Eleven. It's about the same level of intensity and knowledge it took. She was dumb as fuck. She had a look and she talked loud and she hunted and did all this stuff. And this is what the red meat eating fucks want to hear. Um, and frankly, if we're talking about the next presidential election, they have nobody to fit that bill. They don't have anybody to take over where Donald Trump was left off. Everybody in the Republican Party is fucking weak. And that's the opposite of what Republicans want. They want somebody loud and strong and obnoxious, just like they motherfucking are.
And that's why you see JD Vance doing what he did today, and you're going to see more of that. But people need to realize too what the Democrats need to do is they need to focus on the people that are supporting JD Vance. And that's people like Elon Musk. Pretty much came out and said if the white race loses control, then the world's fucked. I mean, he pretty much said that. I mean, he pretty much said about the white dominance. I mean, they're not hiding it right now. But what the
No.
Republican Democrats need to do is they need to get better messaging and put that shit out there, play it all the time. And people are freaking out because he had dinner with Trump at over Christmas or whatever that he's going to interfere in the elections. If we turn out and we vote, they can't fucking beat us because there's more of us than there are of them.
Yeah, I mean that's the big deal. If you're worried about gerrymandering, or if you're worried about meddling, it's so much. It's to actually meddle in all the elections that are going on during the midterms. It's one thing with the presidency, but with all these elections, it's impossible to do that. And if they were going to do that, they would have done it with the elections we just had. I mean, they were wiped out in these elections.
If it was that
I
fucking
think,
easy, Democrats fucked up because they had Biden in the White House.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, Jace, I'm going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. Thank you for coming on. Um,
Always
we'll
enjoy.
probably we're going to have to do another take a break show. I will tell you this: I'll be on an airplane Saturday morning when we normally did it, so maybe we'll have to do it Sunday or something when I get down to Georgia. But we'll get it done, and we'll be talking to some other folks tomorrow. I've already verified it. Ed will be on the show, and I know people will be excited about that because that old fuck knows some shit.
Yeah, and he's good. It's always good to listen to your elders. That's why I listen to you every day, Mike.
That's right. That's right. For those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.